Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our new video discussion previewing the Testaments. And this is coming on the heels of the Handmaid's Tale series finale that aired this week on Hulu. Obvious spoiler alert, if you have not watched the Handmaid's Tale finale, we are going to be talking all about it here, but through the lens of what exactly is coming up next.
Yeah, we've said many times in our Handmaid's Tale, we'll let you guys know here again, we have not read the Testament, so we don't know what's supposed to be coming up in these books or if they're going to be changing a lot from the books. But what we do know is, stuff like who is going to be part of this, who's behind the scenes, when it could be premiering, like, is it already filming? Yes, those types of things, so that everything we do know about the Testaments, we're here to share with you.
Yeah, and I think one thing that is pretty good from the get-go, and without even talking about the books, because like Jess said, we have not read it, it's just that it does seem like there's going to be some things that are different, and I think a lot of that just comes inherently from the fact that the original book, The Handmaid's Tale, that the show was based on, the show went so far beyond what was in that material that it kind of just allows this to be even more of its own thing. But yeah, there's a lot to get into when it comes to whether or not Elizabeth Moss is going to be in this. Like, what's her role? What characters could we see? I mean, we are really excited to check this show out. I know, at least from the comments of our review from the series finale, it seems like there's a lot of people who are feeling kind of a little bit all over the place, mixed reaction, but let us know if you guys are still excited to check out this new spinoff coming hopefully pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited. While the finale was a very mixed bag for a lot of people, I think that we got answers on a lot of where the characters are going to be going. And, that was something that I was looking for. So I got that out of the finale. Now moving into the Testaments, I kind of know who are the players that are still out there doing stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we go any further into all of this, be sure to hit that subscribe button because, we are going to be here, of course, with the Testaments once it does premiere. But for now, especially since you guys already have Hulu because you've been watching The Handmaid's Tale, be sure to check out our coverage of Nine Perfect Strangers because we love sitting around and talking about TV with you guys and hearing your thoughts, your theories. This show is twisted, it's weird, it's got Nicole Kidman, it's got Annie Murphy, Christine Baranski, awesome cast. Great escapist location in the Austrian Alps. It makes you want to go and get a giant mug of hot chocolate with like all the marshmallows in it and then just have like a marshmallow stash on the other side of it.
Yeah, it's a really cool, trippy show that kind of reminds me a little bit of White Lotus, a little bit of Murder at the End of the World. It's really good. So if you haven't checked that out, it just started last week. So, it's very quick to catch up on the show and we will be doing reviews here. So hit that subscribe button. But also over on our Patreon, we are covering Murderbot. We're covering Criminal Minds Evolution Season 3. So if you join our Patreon, you'll be able to get those videos over there. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined.
Thank you guys. We very, very much appreciate that.
Okay, so as I mentioned, filming has already started. It started on April 7th, so they're getting pretty deep into it now.
Yeah, I appreciate the idea that at the very least, there is a commitment behind the scenes here to not make you wait as long as we had to wait between season 5 and season 6 of The Handmaid's Tale. And I know there were a lot of extraneous reasons for that. Not everything had directly to do with the show itself, but it's really a sentiment here of, okay, we recognize that this is a very impatient economy. We also recognize that we are living in a world where you're basically having to wait, I don't know, 2 to 3 years between seasons of Severance, House of the Dragon, a lot of these other big prestige shows. They take forever. And for now, in theory, I'm not on here confirming anything. Hulu can do whatever they want. It feels like there is a good chance you will see the Testaments next year.
Yeah, I mean, if they're already filming, it feels like unless they have other things popping up on the schedule that they need to get out before then, we should be seeing this next year for sure.
There's no CGI dragons. There's nothing that requires a huge amount of post-production here. But okay, so from the get-go, let's just get a little bit into what the basic premise of this show is. So it is, and this is according to executive producer Warren Littlefield. He said this in Hollywood Reporter about this show, that it's picking up 4 years after the events of The Handmaid's Tale, and we're not really seeing the story from June's point of view. Now, we know that June made it through The Handmaid's Tale. She's
Mm-hmm.
still alive. She's still out there. I mean, we'll certainly have a conversation if she's going to turn up, but there are really a few really key characters here. One of them, Aunt Lydia. It's been reported for a long time now that Aunt Dowd is going to be a part of this show.
Mm-hmm.
We also have Hannah, aka Agnes, which may be the name that she's going by now. This is someone who's being played by Chase Infinity. If you saw Presumed Innocent with Apple TV Plus with Jake Gyllenhaal,
So good.
really, really good. She was a very big part of that without giving any spoilers away on that. But I will at least say, if she is, the quote unquote lead, I think that she is more than capable of handling that as a performer. We've seen enough on the resume now.
Yeah, she is great. Presumed Innocent was such a surprise. I mean, I know it's based on a best-selling novel, and I expected it to be good, but I didn't expect to get so involved as I did. And
Yeah.
she was definitely a part of the reason why. I mean, she was excellent there. I'm looking forward to watching her on Testament.
Yeah, we have one other main character, and this is a newcomer by the name of Daisy. There's, of course,
Hmm.
a lot of other people who are sort of scattered throughout the cast, and the vast majority of them, at least at the time of this recording, they are all new faces. I mean, whether it's Bruce Miller, other people behind the scenes over the past several months, like they really made an effort to sort of emphasize, okay, the Testaments is not The Handmaid's Tale. If we wanted to do more of The Handmaid's Tale, we would have just done a season 7. Like, this is very much a
Yeah.
separate story.
But we do know that June is still out there doing her best to bring down the rest of Gilead to get to Hannah.
Yeah.
Hannah forever. I don't care what her other name is. It doesn't matter. She is Hannah. And I know that June is out there doing what she can to bring down all of Gilead so that she can get to Hannah. That is still going to be a background story that we know is going to be happening. Whether or not we're going to see her in it or not, tinfoil hat, I think yes. I mean, Elizabeth Moss is going to be doing some work behind the scenes on the Testaments,
Yeah.
I just feel like if this is going to be Aunt Lydia's story or Hannah's story, that at some point we would maybe see June show up, that the paths would cross.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with you. We are going to see her most likely at some point, just because it would be weird if we did not. Obviously, in like the hours following the series finale, nobody is coming out and confirming anything on
Of
this
course not.
one way or another. And I know that Elizabeth is working on another show right now as an actress, so she's currently balancing that with whatever producing duty she's doing on the Testaments. It seems like she is pretty darn involved with all of that, but it
Mhm.
just feels like even if it's for an episode, 2 episodes, maybe she doesn't appear until close to the end of season 1, or if they do more than that, she's appearing in season 2. I think they'll take a little bit of time to sort of establish this new world before they start to bring in a bunch of legacy characters, because
Mhm.
they don't want to just have us watching for the nostalgia. So we're just like, oh, it's that character, it's that character. They want to let the new show breathe a little bit. Okay, so according to the Hollywood Reporter, Margaret Atwood told Bruce Miller that he couldn't kill Lydia, Hannah, or Nicole on the original show. And it seems like he stuck to that. These characters are all still alive. I think the question is Nicole actually going to appear on the Testaments? Like, that's a little bit of a mystery that exists right now, because it seems like maybe Nicole was older in the source material. We haven't read the source material, so all possibilities are theoretically still out there with that.
Well, Nicole is still pretty little, so even if it's 4 years in the future, what is she, 7?
Yeah, she just doesn't feel like she's old enough necessarily to be like a really, really big part of the show in that way.
Mhm.
But if we're going to transfer over to Aunt Lydia for a moment here, like, what is she going to be doing? If we get back to that quote from Warren Littlefield, it feels like she's going to be doing something akin to running a school or being a part of a school. So is it Aunt Lydia now, teacher Lydia?
Yeah, it's really surprising that Aunt Lydia is in charge of anything after what she screamed out at the gallows. It just kind of doesn't make a lot of sense that she's in charge of anything. Also, everything that happened with all the handmaids that were under her watch, that all got away and killed all these commanders. I mean, I would assume that the rest of Gilead knows what her part was in this, sort of. There was the guard there who was just like, whatever you want. You want to let everybody go? No problem. There is a witness to tell the tale. So the fact that she's still there and in charge of anybody is kind of surprising.
Yeah, I hope that in the early days of the Testaments, even with this time jump of a handful of years, we kind of understand how Lydia found her footing in Gilead again. Like that whole exchange that we saw with Janine and with Charlotte and everything that was happening, like that was one of our biggest sticking points of the finale, just because it was kind of confusing how there weren't a lot of repercussions. And I understand they wanted to make a really optimistic finale, and I
Mhm.
understand after everything the Handmaid's Tale put us through. But this is a new show, this is a new world. Like, you can give us a little bit more drama and tension and story here.
Mhm.
So I think, big picture, the deal with the Testaments is that Hulu's obviously going to put a lot of money into this, because The Handmaid's Tale, if you really go back in a time machine, I don't know, 8 or 9 years, like this was one of their first major hits. They're not going to want this show to fail. I think it's going to get a big platform. I would anticipate maybe the end of this year, early next year, we start to see a little bit of footage, if not that, some photos, like just some little things that kind of get us excited.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have a really big push. None of us wanted The Handmaid's Tale to end. Obviously, all good things have to come to an end, but they have been letting everybody know that this is going to be coming up. And while no one has spoiled it for us in the comments, we have seen people who have been commenting saying that the Testaments, the book, just isn't as good as a Handmaid's Tale book was. But that's okay, because they've made a bunch of changes to The Handmaid's Tale, the book. They're going to be making some changes here as well to
Yeah.
make it a little more consumable on TV, and that's okay. That's why I understand why it's exciting to read the books and then see what they do on TV. But for us, we didn't read the books. For
Yeah.
us, it's exciting to just see what they're doing on TV, because they're going to move away from the books as they always do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if we're just going to talk about who we want to see on the show, like I will say this, I want Mark at some point, and I want Aunt Janet at some point, just because we know America's probably still going to be going at it with Gilead. It would make sense to me that these characters turn up in some shape or form.
Yeah, I it's okay if we see them a little bit, but if it's more so about Aunt Lydia and what's going on still inside Gilead, I'm expecting not to see very much of what's going on outside with America, with what's going on, maybe a little bit on the news.
The only person who has basically come out and been like, I'm not going to be doing the Testaments, is Severa Wiley, played Moira. She was basically like, I've had enough of the trauma, which I understand after being a part of this for so long. I mean, I guess anything can happen, but I'm going to take her at her word for now.
Yeah, and that might be the reason why a lot of us have been complaining that we didn't really see very much of her in this last season. Like, she was there, but her story was very background for being such an important character throughout the entirety of this show. Like, she was barely in this finale, and she is an important person on the show. So it could be that it was like, okay, I'll finish out the show, but I don't really want to be on it, so pull my character back.
Yeah, I just think, big picture, there's a lot to look forward to. It's a lot of the same crew, a lot of the same people behind the scenes. So if you did like The Handmaid's Tale, you're probably going to like The Testaments. Like, no guarantees here, obviously. But
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do.
yeah, I really am too. And we're excited to be back talking about that, hopefully next year. Hopefully, if they're going to
Hopefully.
churn out a season of Paradise every year on Hulu, which it seems like they're trying to. Same with Only Murders in the Building. You guys can do that. So cross our
Yeah.
fingers, hope for the best.
I would be really shocked if it's not on sometime next year. They've already been filming for like almost 2 months.
Yeah, it's just like, you guys don't need to wait on this anymore. But okay, let us know in the comments, like, what are you guys most excited to see on the Testaments? Obviously, no spoilers, please, if you have read the books, even knowing they'll probably change some stuff. But
Yep.
hit that subscribe button. Check out our coverage of Nine Perfect Strangers, as we said earlier. And if you guys do want to support us more, be sure to join our Patreon. We have that link in the description. We are covering there exclusively Murderbot as well as Criminal Minds Evolution. Thank you so much. We will see you here next time.